Hello, welcome to another video. I'm Jenny and thank you for joining me today. So today I am doing the reread, rewrite, burn challenge. I saw Cassidy at Covers Cassidy do this. I think I've seen a couple of other people do this challenge as well, but I forget who. Sorry. So the way that this works, it's kind of like the game Snog, Marry, Avoid. Snog would be the equivalent to rewrite, so a book is really good, but I want to change some things about it. Marry is the equivalent to reread, as in perfection, love it, read it, it's no changes. And burn is of course avoid, as in get it out. Now, I've decided to torture myself with this. I'm doing this with all of my 5 and 4.5 star reads of the year so far. So these are all of my favourite books. I don't wanna. I've got them all in this mug and I'm scared. Like I said, some of these are my 4.5 reads, so they're not like favourites. And again, some books, like they might be 5. Hey Bella, this isn't any treats for you actually. Some books might be, move your tail, oh no, I just threw some books out then. Some books might be 5 stars, but kind of were 5 stars at the time, whereas now they might be like, not still the 5-star vibes. Also, I'm only including one book per series, so if there's a series that I've read where multiple books have been 4.5 or 5 stars, I'm only including one of them in my jar, just purely so I don't end up with like having to pit books in the same series against each other. Anyway, enough of that. I've got an audience with Bella. I might throw her on the floor in a minute, but let's go. So let's pick out 3 bits of paper. 1, 2, 3. What have we got? Funny Story by Emily Henry. Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy by Cassandra Clare. And Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. Okay, so I've only got one of these books physically. This is quite difficult because actually they all were kind of favourites. So Funny Story by Emily Henry. It's a romance. It's my favourite Emily Henry romance. Bella, leave those bits of paper alone, please. No, leave them alone. Yeah, Funny Story. It's fantastic. It follows 2 characters who their partners both broke up with them and started dating each other. So the 2 characters we're following end up living together because they've both been kicked out by their respective ex-partners. It's great. I had such a good time reading it. Okay. Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy. I really enjoy the Shadowhunter stories. This one is a series of short stories about being in the Shadowhunter Academy, following Simon. I'm not normally the biggest fan of short stories, but I did enjoy how this showed us Simon's story without being its own novel, I suppose. And then Divine Rivals, I've read recently. Divine Rivals really surprised me. It follows 2 characters who end up corresponding via these type letters, and they both end up being war correspondents. It's a sort of rivals to lovers. So, what are we going to do? Oh, this is really hard. I think I'm going to have to burn Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy. I love it. But of the 3, it is probably the weakest due to the fact that it's a short story collection rather than a novel. Okay. I think I'm going to rewrite Divine Rivals. Again, I loved it, but there were a few things that I would like to change, and I'll reread Funny Story. Okay, first one down. That's actually so much harder than I thought it was going to be. So, let's do it again. Right, 1, 2, 3. We have got Saga, Ship of Magic, Dragonflight. All right, so these three. Okay, I'm going to start off with Dragonflight by Anne McCaffrey. This is one of my favourite series ever. I love this series. This book is very old, and I do think that, you know, you have got to be aware that this book was written in the 60s when you read it, but I love the story. I love the characters. I think that you can see so much how the Dragons of Pern series has inspired so many modern authors, particularly for Fourth Ring. When I reread it, I was just like, yeah, this is the inspiration behind Fourth Ring and the dragons in Fourth Ring. So I really liked that one. Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb. So this is book 1 in the Live Ship Traders series. This one is quite slow. So we are following, our main character is Althea. There are Wizardwood ships which kind of come alive when the third generation of a family dies on their decks, and Althea's ship is about to come alive. However, her father, with his dying breath, gives the ship to her brother-in-law Kyle rather than Althea. There's a few other like plot lines in here as well. I loved this. It did take me a long time to get into it, but I absolutely loved it. Then we've got Saga. Now, this is one of the series where I've read the whole series this year, and this is standing in for the full series, the first 9 volumes. I think I have got about 6 of the volumes as were 5 stars and the rest were 4.5s. So I love this series. What can I tell you about it? We're following our 2 main characters who are from opposing people. One is from a people on a planet and the other one is from a moon. And these 2 peoples have been at war for years. However, our 2 main characters fall in love and have a baby, and therefore pretty much everyone in the universe wants to kill the whole family because nobody wants it to be acknowledged that these 2 people have anything in common, because that will bring an end to the war, which, you know, gives a lot of people a lot of money. Oh, okay. Oh, this pains me to do it. Am I going to do that? Oh, I think I'm going to have to reread Saga. I think of the 3, Saga is the one that is most close to perfection. So rereading Saga. So I really want to put Dragonflight as a rewrite because there is a lot that I think it is so good, but there is a lot that could be improved by rewriting it with a 21st century voice. But then that means burning Ship of Magic, and I don't know if I could do that. The only thing I'd change in Ship of Magic is the length of it. Like, it's very slow paced and it's very long. Then that means burning Dragonflight. I don't really want to do that either. Okay, I think we've got like 2 queens of the genre here. I think I'm going to rewrite Dragonflight by Anne McCaffrey, just because that whole series, the Dragons of Pern series, I love it so much. I've loved it for years. And that means burning Ship of Magic. Not because I want to, but really because I don't think anybody can rewrite Robin Hobb. So it's going to have to exist in perfection on the burn pile. That was hard. That was even harder than the first choice. Okay, choice number 3. 1, 2, 3. So we have got Girl Goddess Queen. By the way, the reason I'm not showing these to you is I cut them up quickly, and this is how I've cut them. I'm having to work out what they say rather than reading what they say. So Girl Goddess Queen, Baby Love, and Heartstopper. Ooh. Good. Okay, this is a very hard selection. Girl Goddess Queen. This book blew me away. I was not expecting to love it, but I adored it. It's the Hades and Persephone retelling. It is YA. In fact, all three of these are YA. It's a YA fantasy, but the way that it deals with relationships and consent and difficult family situations and the messages that it has, I just adored. I adored everything about it. So I loved that one. Baby Love by Jacqueline Wilson. So this one is set in the 1960s, following our main character who becomes pregnant at age 13, 14, and she is sent away to a sort of house hospital to have her, to basically, while she is pregnant, and then to have her baby, so it would be given up for adoption. This one made me cry. It's so moving. I feel like it's done in a really sensitive way. I had a fantastic time. And then Heartstopper. So I actually read volume 4 this year, but again, I'm just counting the series. It's Heartstopper. This follows Nick and Charlie. They are boys in year 10 and 11 at school. Charlie is gay and out. Nick is not, but as he falls for Charlie, he realises that he is in fact bisexual. It is just a cosy, soft romance story. You know there's going to be a happy ending. You know that these two are just going to be good for each other. There isn't going to be like, a third act breakup or anything like that. It is just feel good. So, what do I do with these? What do I do with these? I think I have to burn Baby Love, because even though I loved it, I think I preferred these two a tinsy bit more. Oh, I think I have to rewrite Heartstopper. Again, I don't think I can. It's so near perfection. But I think that of the three, my favourite is Girl Goddess Queen, and this is the one that I think I need to reread. Oh, that was so difficult. I don't like this game anymore. Right, next picks. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we have got Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez, Clanlands by Sam Heughan and Graham McTavish, and Dustbin Baby by Jacqueline Wilson. Okay, so Clanlands, let's start off with that one. That one I read on ebook. It is a story of Sam Heughan and Graham McTavish travelling around Scotland in a camper van. I believe they were filming something. They were filming like a Guys on Tour kind of show as a sort of spin-off to Outlander that isn't set in Outlander, but it's just showcasing Scotland. I loved it. I loved the humour. I loved the personality in there. I just thought it was fantastic. Dustbin Baby by Jacqueline Wilson. This one is a YA. I love this one. This one I read as a teen. We're following April, who on her 14th birthday, I think, she decides she wants to find out who her parents are. And she goes down this trip of sort of memory lane trying to work out who her mother was. Her mother abandoned her in a dustbin as a newborn. So we see her find the woman that fostered her as a baby, find the couple that adopted her as like a toddler, find the care home that she was in after that adoption fell through, find the school that she went to, and it's just, this book made me cry so much. I absolutely adored it. And then finally, Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. This one is a romance. We are following a big city, big shot doctor who falls for a small town guy who runs a B&B. That's all I'm gonna say on this one. It's a romance. It's very, very cute. I think, actually, do you know what? I think this one's fairly easy. I think I'm gonna have to burn Clownlands. I loved it. It was a good time, but it was only a good time once, you know? Rewrite part of your world. There were actually things in this one that I didn't like. Like there's a weird kind of magical element that just didn't make sense to me. So I would rewrite part of your world, which means I'm rereading Dustbin Baby, which ironically enough, it was a reread anyway. That was probably the easiest one I've had yet. Next one, I think we've got about 3 more to go here. Okay, oh no, dropped it. 1, 2, 3. So we've got Mr. Wrong Number by Lynn Painter, House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas, and Only a Monster by Vanessa Len. Let's get them. Okay, Mr. Wrong Number. So this one we are following our female main character who moves in with her brother after she accidentally burns her flat down. And falls for her, well, ends up texting with this mysterious man, Mr. Wrong Number. They kind of fall for each other, and it turns out that he is the brother's, his brother's flatmate, who she doesn't really like in person. They don't get on. It's such a cute romance. I had so much fun reading it. I really enjoyed this one. This is one of the few books which is just standing in as the book, not as the series. So House of Earth and Blood is the first book in the Crescent City series. This is the 4th, 5th time I've read this book, and I love it. We're following Bryce Quinlan, who is, her best friend was murdered a few years ago, and she is tasked with trying to solve this murder because it's thought that she has some extra information into what happened. And to help her with assisting the police, as it were, she has been given her bodyguard of the very sexy angel Hunt Athalar. So much happens in this. Now, like I said, this one is standing in just this book, not the series. House of Sky and Breath I loved. I've given it 4.5 stars on a reread. House of Flame and Shadow, not so much. It got 3 stars. I did feel like the series went downhill, so I'm only counting House of Earth and Blood. I'm not counting this as the full series. And then finally, Only a Monster by Vanessa Len. This one knocked me completely out left field. I was not expecting to enjoy this book. This one came in a fairy loop many moons ago, and I read it as part of my book box battle, and I was like, I mean, I'll read it, but you know, whatevs. Adored it, fantastic. We're following our main character who, her grandma always says that they're monsters, and she's like, what are we talking about? No, we're not. Turns out that her grandma is right, and that she is from a monster family. Something happens, and the only person that she can turn to is a boy that she has a crush on, who it turns out is a very famous monster hunter. So we've got that kind of rivals, not even rivals, but like not quite enemies, but they're forced to work together to try and work out what's happening, and it's fantastic. Okay, right, what are we doing with these lot? I think I am going to have to burn Only a Monster, because even though, like I was just saying, this book was fantastic and I loved it, I would like to read the sequel, but only if like it fell into my hands rather than I'm dying to read the sequel. Now, if I was counting the series, this would definitely be a rewrite, but I'm not. So I think I'm going to have to reread House of Earth and Blood, because I'm just talking about this one book. And this one book is the best Sarah J. Maas book, which means I'm rewriting Mr. Wrong Number. Again, I had so much fun with this one. And yeah, as a rewrite, it would be just making a few little amends here and there. Okay, I think I've got about, I don't know, maybe maybe 9 things left in here. We're nearly out. So I've picked up 3 here. We have got Jade Legacy, Illuminae, Mortal Monarchs. So Mortal Monarchs is basically, I follow the author on TikTok, and it is basically the stories of how every single monarch in England and the UK, from I believe William the Conqueror, how they all died. It made me laugh. It was a very, very funny, quick read. Illuminae by J. Christopher and Amy Kaufman. This one is a sci-fi told completely in mixed media. It is a space opera. So the planet that our main characters are living on is attacked, and they are then escaping from this like enemy ship. And shit hits the fan, you know? Things happen. And this is all told in like transcripts, chat messages, AI internal logs of what the incident was and how it happened. So it's kind of told like, I guess like after the event. Jade Legacy. So this one is the 3rd in the Green Bones. Just checking out. This one is the 3rd book in the Green Bone Saga by Fonda Lee, and I loved this book. The other 2 books, I believe, both got 4 stars. This one got 5. This is a very slow-paced, generational story, kind of like a sort of mafia-esque story of the Greenbone clan, and we are really seeing Hilo's story. So Hilo starts off as the brother of the leader of the clan. Things happen, and it's just a very, very beautiful, like I said, kind of almost generational story of Hilo's life, and I loved it. I cried my eyes out at the end of this. I have got a reading vlog of me reading this, and I am ugly crying. So quite easily, Mortal Monarchs is being banned. Mortal Monarchs was super fun. I had a very fun time listening to it, but that's it. I don't need to read it again. I don't need to do anything else with that. I've listened to it fine. Burn. These 2, however, I don't know. I think I'm going to rewrite Jade Legacy, because again, putting this one in for the series, even though this 3rd book was my favourite, the series is very long. I mean, this book is, I believe, about 800 pages. The series is very long. It is very slow. There are parts where you do kind of want the pace to pick up a little bit. So I'm going to rewrite Jade Legacy and reread Illuminae. I think that this one was so incredible. Like the way that this story is told is just, it blows my mind that someone could think of this, let alone 2 people thinking of it, because the way that their brains worked together blows my mind. Okay, the next group. Oh, you've just flown out there. 1, 2, and 3. So we have got The Lottie Project by Jacqueline Wilson, The Deal by Elle Kennedy, and The Butterfly Garden by Dot Hutchinson. 3 very, very different books there. Let's get them. Okay, so like I said, 3 very different books. The Deal by Elle Kennedy is a romance. We're following our main character who, she is a pretty good student. She does really well in this one ethics class, whereas our male main character is failing the class. If he fails this class, he'll be kicked off the hockey team. He is the captain of the hockey team. So he tries to make a deal with Hannah, our main character, to say, hey, can you tutor me? And she's like, no, I have no interest in tutoring you. I don't care what you want to pay me. I'm not doing that. Our male main character, Garrett, works out that Hannah fancies a football player. And he says, right, well, we'll pretend to date. That will make the football player interested in you. Like, we'll go out, we'll be seen twice at parties. You don't need to do anything. We'll just, you know, be seen at parties together. But in return, you have to tutor me. And she's like, okay. This then turns into the cutest, loveliest romance, and I loved it. It really reminded me of Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. I know this one was published first, but with the way that the hockey players have this kind of gruff, rough, manly man exterior, but are actually soft, sweet cinnamon rolls underneath. Loved it. Next, we've got The Lottie Project by Jacqueline Wilson. This one is a middle grade, and we are following Charlie, who has a new teacher at school who's very, very strict, calls her Charlotte, and makes them do a year-long project on the Victorians. Charlie doesn't want to do a boring, like, presentation on what Victorian houses were like. So instead she writes a diary, a fictional diary following a nursery maid called Lottie. So we've kind of got a dual timeline of Lottie's story and what's happening in Charlie's own life and the way that they sort of mirror each other. And I love this book so much. Next, we've got The Butterfly Garden by Dot Hutchinson, a very, very dark thriller. This one, how much can I tell you about this one? This one is like a kind of, it's a survivor story. So we're opening up with an FBI agent interviewing a girl who has been rescued from this place called the Garden. Now the gardener, which is how all of the girls know him, is a man who kidnaps young girls, tattoos them as butterflies, and then rapes them multiple times and ends by murdering them. This is dark. This is beyond dark, but it's very, very memorable. I still remember that this is of these three. I read this one in May. I read these two much more recently. I still remember this one. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do with these three? Okay. Right. I'm going to reread The Lottie Project. I just think this book is so fantastic. This is one of my favourites from childhood. I love it. I'm going to rewrite The Butterfly Garden. This one is so dark. I think it's fantastic. There are a couple things that, again, it is so, so dark that I think there are some places where I think we could go darker. There are some places where I think, come on, we need to tone this down a bit. Which means that I'm going to burn the deal, which I don't want to do. But I feel like there are a lot of hockey romances, and does the deal do anything different? Not necessarily different or unique, but it does what it does really well, but I'm still burning the deal. Okay, 3 more bits of paper in here. The last 3 books we're going with, can't get that last one out. We have got Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney, A Little Hatred by Joe Abercrombie, and The Last Passenger by Will Dean. A Little Hatred, again, this one is standing in for the series. This is book 1 in the Age of Madness, which is the second trilogy in the First Law universe. I really enjoy this universe. I can't really tell you what this book's about, I'll be totally honest. We're following the children of characters that we met in the first trilogy. This is set about 20 years after the end of the first trilogy. We've had the 3 standalones in the meantime. And we are coming into like an industrial revolution. That's all I'm going to say. There is a lot that happens. It's very political. But I feel the characters are a lot more rounded than they were in the first part of the First Law. Last Passenger by Will Dean. This one is set on a cruise ship. So a woman goes to sleep on a cruise ship, wakes up, and there is nobody else on the ship. She is there by herself, and there is a voice calling himself the Admiral, telling her to complete tasks. It turns out there are 4 people completing these tasks. This is terrifying. Like, this gave me actual, like, visceral fear. Fantastic. Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. So this one is a And Then There Were None retelling. It is set on a island in Cornwall, and the whole family gathers around to hear the grandmother's, like for the grandmother's birthday, I think it is. And then people start dying one by one. The twist at the end of this one, I think actually I loved it. It's one of those, when I read it, I was like, I don't know if I loved that twist or not, but I didn't see that twist coming, and I still think about the twist in this one. So what am I going to do with these 3? I think I have to reread The Last Passenger. I think everything about this book was perfection. I know a lot of people don't like it, but you're wrong. I think I need to rewrite A Little Hatred, because again, the series is fantastic. Joe Abercrombie cannot end series though. Book 3 just wasn't so good. I did give all of this series 5 or 4.5 stars. I think book 3 I gave 4 stars. But he's not the best at ending series. But there was, I loved the characters in this one. I loved what happens. But then that means I'm burning Daisy Darker. I don't want to burn Daisy Darker. I might have to burn A Little Hatred and rewrite Daisy Darker. I don't want to do that either. Okay, no, I'm sticking with it. I'm going to have to burn Daisy Darker. I don't want to do this. But again, I think, similarly to Ship of Magic, I think that this one just worked so well that I don't want to touch it. So that was my reread, rewrite, burn challenge. I did not have a good time, but if you enjoyed this video, please do let me know down below. Let me know if you agree with my choices, if you've read all of the books that I'm talking about. And if you just want to leave me an emoji to let me know you were here, leave me a daisy for Daisy Darker. And if you like this video, please like, subscribe down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.